Hi, I'm Christine. I am the creator and inventor of Pointelles pointy-toe shoe inserts for pointy-toe shoes that help prevent bending, creasing, and flattening of this section past your toes on a pointed-toed shoe. So I just wanted to tell you briefly what inspired me to start my business. I wasn't even thinking of starting a business. I just wanted to solve this problem for myself and figured it was a problem for a lot of other women who wear pointed-toed shoes, heels, flats, whatever. And you spend money, no matter how much or how little you spend on your shoes, usually are attracted. Women love shoes. And or even if you just buy them for practical reasons like I do sometimes, like a pair of black flats that have a pointed toe, you really like them, you look forward to wearing them, they're basic or whatever, or they're really fancy and gorgeous and pretty, and you want them to stay pretty. And after a while of this bending and creasing and flattening on my shoes, one instance in particular, I was like, that's it. I had bought two pairs of the same flat, one in black, one in blue, that had a pointed toe, and I had just worn to work like the black pair a few times, and already the toe had just completely flattened. The little part of the end came up. It had a bunch of creases, and it looked like a different part of the shoe. It looked so ugly. I thought, I don't want to wear this anymore. And I just bought them within a month, and so I put them in my closet, and I didn't wear them anymore. And I was really kind of thinking, okay, I need to fix this. So I started experimenting with different kinds of materials to shove in there, and it would need to like stay in place, be firm enough to withstand the forces of walking right here, but not be so soft. It'd have to also, in case your toe hits it, it should be short enough so it doesn't hit a person's toes. It should be firm enough to stay in here, all these different things. So I started buying foam and gel, insoles and things from the drugstore, and I cut them up into triangle shapes and glue them together and try various densities of foam and gel. And I really wanted to use this material called Pour-On, which foot pedals are made out of, because it's antimicrobial and it seemed really ideal, but it just comes in sheets. And a lot of these foams and things come in sheets, and the product is cut. And so these, as you see, you can't cut this round thing. You can cut here and you can cut here, but you can't cut this. Actually, I had someone cut one prototype from this huge, it was huge, clay model that I had made, but it was a one-off thing, and it would be like exorbitantly expensive, and he was very nice and made one for me. Anyway, it was so big when I first started out. I had these shoes that had this big pointed toe section, and the whole insert was about this big. But my little insert will work in shoes that have a very long, narrow point. It will fit in here. But I'm not trying to sell my inserts to you right now. I'm trying to explain how I start my business. So, like I said, I eventually did make a small enough clay prototype that I made out of clay that I got from an art store. I baked it in my oven like it said. I sanded it down. I just Googled everything. I have no business like entrepreneurial experience, nothing. So Google is your friend. Just Google your question. Foam manufacturers in my area, and just Google stuff. I did most of my business without meeting anyone ever. It's all email or some video conferences, but never having met who makes my products. So, but you can develop a relationship by the way you conduct yourself through email and things like that. So I'm starting to babble a little bit, but I find that's kind of important, that you don't have to go meeting people or flying here and flying there. Maybe if you have something manufactured overseas, you might need to fly to China or Thailand or somewhere to meet people, but you can also I was lucky with my first set of prototypes. That manufacturer was in driving distance of where I was living, and I was able to meet them. And unfortunately, they made my prototypes. It's very difficult to find a manufacturer. When I was Googling manufacturers of foam products and contacting them, to find someone that makes something that's very small and has a specific shape, because they have to have the capability to make molds that will make something so small and on a mass production level. So the first people to make mine locally had a mold that made one at a time, like making one cookie at a time in the oven or something like that. And they had to hand mix this material, which eventually cures into this object. And on a mass production scale, that would take forever. But I was willing to go with them. And when I was finally ready to go into production, I kept emailing them, when can I be on the production line, la la la. After about 6 to 8 months, the guy who I'd been in contact with finally contacted me, and he said, I'm sorry, but we can only make these in black. All their products were in black. And that's because the machines they had to make their products only had this black stuff in them. And so it would be ridiculous and exorbitant for them to clean the machines each time. And it was actually a rubber company, but they could make this kind of foam object, but it was very inconsistent in color. It was kind of a fuchsia color, very different colors of pink. It worked fine, but I didn't want a black rubbery thing to give women to stick in their shoes, because it would look industrial and industrial rubber and like it belonged in a hardware store. So I thought, okay, I can't go with them. So I spent about 1.5 years with them, because I also have a regular job, a full-time job. So I'm doing all this on the side, which I still am. And I had to find someone else. Again, this was very difficult, time-consuming. Went back to Google, found someone in the same state that I'm at, and they were fabulous. And they have just a bigger capabilities production-wise. Nothing wrong with the other company. They just were too specialized in their little black rubber products that were fairly large. So they could make small ones. I found them. They made them. They were fantastic. They used my little clay model, and they did CAD, that's computer assisted design, 3D, drawings of my insert, and that's so that they could make molds. Now, molds are very expensive, especially all this stuff. When you do this stuff in the United States, it's very expensive. And I don't even use the mold cost in the cost of my product. And still it's priced higher than I'd like, just because these are so expensive to make for me. I have been looking overseas, and that's another story. But if you want something manufactured yourself and you want to do it in the United States, it's just much more direct, easier. You don't have to fly to other places, but that's another topic. So anyway, they made them for me, and they're fabulous. I'm almost selling through of these, and then after I will have some other ones to sell. But anyway, just wanted to let you know that if you want to start your own business, and this is when you have your own product to sell. This is not if you want to buy a bunch of these things like they sell on Amazon, like cables for computers, or, you can buy from all these other websites, buy their inventory, and then you mark them up and you sell them on your website. So I have my own thing. And the other thing was I wanted it patented. If you ever watch Shark Tank, where the entrepreneurs present their products to all these investors and try to get an investment deal, a lot of them sometimes say, well, this is not proprietary, blah, blah, blah. Do you have a patent? And so I just wanted a patent because I felt it was very special. I did that all by myself also, with no lawyers. I bought a book called Patent It Yourself, and it comes out every year. It's excellent for just getting the main patent started and setting things up and getting it out there. Even though I got many, many rejections, I eventually got it after 2.5 years of very hard work. And if you're a small entity like I am with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, you have much reduced fees when you submit things than like if you're Google and you invent something, they charge you much bigger fees. So I was on a budget. I'm still on a budget. Yeah, so I made the website myself. There are a lot of e-commerce platforms out there you can use. I use Shopify, which I'm not getting paid to say that, but I like it because, again, I just Googled it and found it because it just focuses on e-commerce. Like I think Weebly is another site that can do e-commerce, but they aren't just specified on e-commerce. So I would pick one that is just an e-commerce type website. And they do have limited functionality. I did all the photos and everything for mine, so eventually I would love to have a professional redo it for me. But it gets a point across, and it's just this one little insert. And let's see, what else? Oh yes, I did this packaging myself to save money. I Googled again, like these are called clamshell inserts. I'm sure you've noticed like when you have these and they're all sealed up and they're hard to open, but mine, I didn't do that because I would have to have them sent to a big facility and have them melt them together, and that would cost more. So, they just come apart, and I found one that fits the little inserts here. I even designed this insert card, so I Googled that again. They're called insert cards for clamshell packaging, and I did this with a Word document and a PDF and just did that myself. So yeah, I did this all myself, and so you can do it too, and it'll probably be even easier for you. But anyway, just Google stuff. Of course you can use other people and friends and things like that. I'm kind of one of those people who just like goes after things on my own, kind of an introvert. So I just kind of do these things. And I did have a mentor at one time with a small business association, and he gave me some good tips. And anyway, you can do all kinds of things. But anyway, what really inspired me was just being tired of the points on my shoes after just wearing them a few times or whatever, becoming ugly and not aesthetically pleasing. I mean, that's why women wear these shoes. This part looks so pretty. That's a pretty part of the shoe. And these just, they just shove right in there. Up. See, and it's nice and full. See it in there? Doesn't come out. And it won't hit your toes because your foot is like around here, your big toe is here. Anyway, that's how I started my business, kind of in a nutshell. I'm really hoping to expand it to get more exposure. It's obviously a very niche market. You have to, first of all, you have to buy a primary product, and that is pointed-toed shoes, and then you can use these. It's not like I like to use the woman who invented Spanx. She did the same thing. She found something. She didn't want her panty lines showing under her white pants, I believe is the story. She did things out of her apartment, which I do. She had to find a manufacturer who would, make this girdly thing for her. And you just Google around, and it's actually, if you really are inspired in what you're doing, it is fun. It's a lot of work, but it's really fun, and it's very rewarding. And I hope to get more engagement with my customers. It's kind of scary for me because I'm like, I don't want to bad review or something like that. But that's what's always inspired me too, is to like help women in some way. Again, this is not some ginormous earth-shattering problem, but you know, it helps women in their daily lives and makes things a little better, and your shoes look pretty, and you can feel good about your little outfit and whatever, and save some money in the long run. A lot of women just these days, or people in general, they just throw their shoes away when they're still good and you can repair them. I kind of grew up with repairing the bottom of your shoes when they wore out, and you can repair and get like 2 years more if you wear a pair of shoes a lot, like 2 more years of wear from like, you know, getting new heels on the bottom, repairing this part, which often, especially if it's leather, it just wears down like crazy, and they can just repair this part. And so it's not very expensive. So if you can just put this shoe-in insert, which I got 2 more years out of the black and blue pairs I told you about at the beginning, 2 more years of wear out of those shoes until they naturally wore out, not just because this got all bent and nasty in, you know, a few weeks. So anyway, I hope that wasn't too jumbled, and thank you for listening. Thank you for your time, and if you want to ask questions, please feel free. Take care.